What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Dissect That Film, where we dissect your favorite films, film franchises, and TV. Today, on a new episode of Fresh Cuts, we are sitting down to talk about the 2022 remake of the 1984 film Firestarter, starring Zac Efron and other people.
You're really fucking it. Like Firestarter. Like, okay, but carry on. I like it.
I am your host, Brett Parker. Joining me, as always, is the wonderful Dan and Angela of DNA Gaming.
Well, I'm waiting for you to just elbow me one day.
Was that extra aggressive? Did I come off as aggressive?
He's being extra aggressive. Like, he's over there dancing.
Maybe it's just because I had to watch this movie.
Yeah.
How long ago did you watch it? Like, just in time from time of recording?
A few days ago.
Okay, we watched it last Thursday.
Oh,
Yeah,
maybe
last
it was over the weekend, I think. Yeah, it's been a bit, but there's no way I'm going back and listen, everybody. I fell asleep for about 10 minutes of this movie, and I didn't go back and watch that 10 minutes, and I can guarantee it didn't make this movie any better. So we're going to be doing, this is usually a show where we sit down and we talk about new release movies in theaters or on your favorite streaming services, where we kind of just sit down and we talk about our thoughts on the movie. But what we're gonna do that, but we're also gonna compare it to the 1984 original that we had just reviewed, which you can actually check out on our channel. And yeah, we're gonna kind of talk about the good, which is very few, the bad, which is a lot, and the ugly, which is most of this movie.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Spoiler.
Yeah. So this.
Why am I the only one that stayed awake for this fucking movie? By the way, remember, guys, we're a movie review podcast.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No,
maybe because
this
this movie was boring as fuck.
No, I don't fucking care.
Oh man! So this movie was directed by Keith Thomas, who the only other film of like notoriety is a movie called The Vigil, which came out in 2019, which is a supernatural horror film. Never seen it. Don't know much about it. I guess that one also didn't do very well. So let's give him another horror movie to do. This was done by Blumhouse Productions, so I was actually kind of excited when I hear that, because Blumhouse has been doing pretty good. They've had their stinkers in the past, but they've done pretty well in the last few years with horror remakes. I know they're behind the current Halloween movies, even though I know Halloween Kills has its, it's kind of in the same boat as this movie. And also there's some really good cast in like Zac Efron. He's a good actor. Not good for this role at all. Ryan Kiera Armstrong, who plays Charlie in the movie, she, it's really hard to judge child actors, and based on what she was given for this script, which is not good, she did okay. It just, the script was bad. It was a bad script. They put her in really stupid situations. But you want to know what's really shocking? You want to know who did the music for this movie?
Who?
John fucking Carpenter. The man who directed, I don't know, Halloween, The Thing. Yep.
You ain't got to do. It's probably easier for him just to make music. Like, here's the fucking music. There you go.
John Carpenter, his son Cody, and Daniel Davies did the music for this movie. And if you didn't know, John Carpenter was actually supposed to direct the original Firestarter back in 1984. But
Yes.
because of the failures of The Thing, which, yes, I looked it up, and that is the actual reason why, but well, at least the most popular reason why he didn't direct this movie, other than the fact that his script had nothing to do with the book.
It probably would have been better.
And then it would have been John Carpenter's Firestarter.
Which would have probably been better than what we got from the original.
Remember, it's John Carpenter's Christine as well.
It's literally John Carpenter's everything. Anything, yeah.
I mean, if you make it, you might as well put your dick on it. So,
I mean, he's also has an awesome name. I mean, John Carpenter is a cool name,
or equivalent. If it's a lady.
Yeah. This movie was budgeted at $12 million, which is actually almost the exact budget of the original. I think the original was like 10. Pretty damn close.
That
and
does not account well for inflation.
No.
Currently, it is sitting at $10.9 million at the box office. It is on Peacock, which is how I watched it. It's probably how you guys watched it.
Absolutely.
Which is how you should watch it if you have Peacock, because to be honest, it's not worth the ticket price.
And this is from someone like myself that always endorses watching films in theater.
Yeah.
I would definitely pass on this one.
Yeah. I love going to the theaters and supporting theaters as much as I can, even though my theater fucking sucks because they don't put anything good in there. Like none of the good like A24 horror movies that we've been getting. I can't see it unless I want to drive an hour and a half away. I want to go see Men. Yeah.
Men in tights.
No.
We roam around the forest looking for fights. I'm sorry.
Not that one, but
I'm sorry, Gary.
Oh my Lord.
Could have kept going with that one.
Oh, we could have.
Yeah. It also had Kurtwood Smith, man made famous for that 70s show, but also the bad guy from RoboCop. That. He was in this movie for what, like 10 seconds? They had like a conversation. Oh my God.
He didn't call anybody a dumbass either. I'm really upset about that.
Don't worry, we're getting that 90s show on Netflix very soon. We get to hear it all over again. Can't wait. Boy. Can't wait. All right, well, with all that awesome information, let's
clothes are done. I don't know.
No, you're right. I think it was the dryer. Good job. All right. Let's go around the room and talk about our thoughts on this movie. Non-spoilers, of course. And then we'll warn you if you do want to go see this movie. You know what? See it. It's only like an hour and a half. Watch it. Create your own thoughts, because maybe you'll like it. Maybe you'll, especially a lot of people, especially if you haven't seen the original, it might be a good movie to you. But we watched the original recently, and after watching this, very recently, and after watching this, it's not good. This is not a good movie. There's my thought. On to you guys. Dan, start us off, since Angela started off on the podcast this past week that you guys haven't heard yet.
Absolutely. There are 3 things in this movie that I like over the original.
Okay.
It is, and we will cover this. This is not spoiling this, as I like the way that Rain Cloud, is that his name? Rainbird. I always get that fucked up. I like how he's handled this movie significantly more than the original movie. I like that the movie is shorter, even though it doesn't fucking feel like it.
Yeah.
And then I just like Zac Efron. I don't think the gentleman, I can't think of his name, who played
Keith David or David Keith.
It's David Keith. It's David Keith.
It's David Keith.
Okay. Keith David's the guy I like.
This guy from The Thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I just like, I know that gets him, because I thought he had great chemistry with
the daughter.
What's her name?
Ryan Kiera Armstrong.
No. And the guy in the original.
Drew Barrymore.
I like the guy who played the dad in the original.
So you like the chemistry between the original cast. Okay. Sorry, I got confused.
No, I'm sorry. I know I'm not specific. But yeah, I like that chemistry. In this movie, I thought there was one kill that I enjoyed in the movie. I
really hope it was a kill that happened when I wasn't asleep.
Hopefully it wasn't. Hopefully it was that one that when you weren't asleep. I thought the pacing was terrible. Almost every character in this movie sucks. Like, they're fucking terrible. Like, I'm glad that it built more on the parents. Mm-hmm. Like, you get some more about the parents, specifically the mom, but it's not good. And the ending was weird as fuck, and I really hated it. Like, I would never go back and watch this movie again. I do not recommend it, unless, like I said, you didn't see the original. Maybe you might like it. Like you said, I thought it was boring. I thought the script didn't go. The actors were okay. I like Zac Efron. Sorry, I think I just like him as a character, like a person, and as an actor. The little girl was fine. The effects were not very good. No. She is a significantly weaker individual pyrokinesis. Like, just when you see the abilities she could do in the show are nowhere near as good as the ones that Drew Barrymore could do in the original.
Yeah.
And it has some really shitty blood CGI in this movie. It was fucking awful. I was like, just put blood on his fucking face, and it would look way better than that shit CG you're using, and it would probably be cheaper. Stop doing that. The CG blood looks terrible. Please don't.
Yeah.
Your turn.
I thought it was boring. I liked the bathroom scene. That was about
Okay,
it.
that was a pretty okay. That's some okay tension in the bathroom scene, but that's in the trailer.
Yeah,
Unfortunately,
that's about. Otherwise, I wouldn't watch it again.
remember,
Didn't like it.
a line of dialogue in this movie by that child is "Liar, liar, pants on fire."
It hurt. They did
It's
it in the
so
trailer.
painful.
They did
It's
it in
not
the
even
trailer, and I
good.
said,
It's not-
I really hope they don't actually put that in the movie because that is a stupid fucking line.
It's dumb. The delivery shit. It's not funny. It's not ironic. Like it's
just so dumb. Who just approved that line? Look, it's good. It's a fucking funny fire line that kids used to say. Shut the fuck up, dumbass.
nobody says that.
And this is a fucking guy who's making millions of dollars, and I'm sitting here talking about a movie for free. Fuck
Only
you,
thing-
your
the
stupid
only thing-
dialogue.
Exactly. The closest we get to that is "Liar, liar, plants on fire." And
That's what I was to say. It's
no, plants for hire.
yeah, it's
Plants
based
for
on
hire.
fire.
You
know,
liar. That's who
Ah,
says
damn,
it. That's the
yeah.
closest we get to that line in modern pop culture.
Such a dumb fucking line, and it still irks me.
Oh,
This movie's bad. And listen, I just don't understand why they had to drastically change it from the original. The original is not a great movie. It's good. Would I watch it again? Probably not. It's not a memorable movie. I thought for an 80s, for what they were trying to do in the 80s, I thought it was done well, other than a few things like casting. A very white person to play Native American, which was the positive of this. They actually did, they cast someone of Native American, ethnicity to play that character. Thank you. Good job.
yes.
The problem
GG.
is that the original actually is very closely based on the book. So they just changed so much in this movie, and it made no fucking sense.
It's like you get a few of the big bullet points, like that are from the original. Like, as you know, we won't go into too much, but there's some of the major bullet points are in there. But then there's stuff that's like, why?
Yeah. The casting for Rainbird in this movie is a plus.
Absolutely.
Having the mother in this movie a lot more than the original, I liked it. Again, the way it all ends, shitty as fuck. The concluding action sequence, I guess we can call it, is so rushed and terrible. The original, like, even with the fireballs on the string, that fucking ending of the original Firestarter is awesome.
Oh yeah. Oh, way better.
And this one just didn't know what it needed to do. They eliminated characters that were in the original, like that Dr. Pincott. Spoiler, he's not in this movie. He's just he's a name on a building, everybody. Did you notice that? The hospital that the other doctor is in is called like the whatever his first name was. Like it was like the Pincott Hospital for something. I don't remember.
Which guy was Pincott in the original?
The black guy.
Oh yeah. Because we still got the guy that this dude played. I can't think of his name.
Yeah.
Kurtwood Smith.
Yeah, he played
Red.
Dr. Wayneless. He was
Wayneless. Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
He's Red Foreman.
Yeah. Exactly.
So I don't know, man. Just it annoyed me. I like Zac Efron. I'm on the same page as you. I like Zac Efron. Did not like him in this role. I don't think he had very good chemistry with the girl who played his daughter.
No, not at all.
I really like the original cast, the original guy who plays Andy. What is it again? Is it David Keith?
David Keith.
David Keith. God, I'm gonna get it mixed up every time.
Flip flop.
Yeah. When he uses his powers and like the way like it really like he did such a good job like projecting himself out there as it's so painful.
Yeah.
Zach Efron just couldn't do it. Then they changed the way it affects
Yeah, he
him.
does like that. He does like
Yeah,
that
the
neck
weird
pop
little
thing,
Neck,
nick that
that
the
tick.
neck
yeah.
pop every time.
Uh,
Oh,
Yeah, it's a little bit different. It's a little bit different. And like I said, it just looks so like the effect, like CG blood. Why? God. It's killing me.
they make fake blood that can
I
go in
know.
your eyes.
It's because
I
of
know,
their
that's what I'm
budget. I
saying.
guarantee it's because of the budget and the
They're-
time. I guarantee they're like, you have this much time to make this movie go. And they're like, well, we don't have time to constantly apply blood effects on these people. We just got to do quick CG. And it's like, how can you not do CG blood right this far into the technology?
Exactly.
Explain to me the man hours it would take to do that CG blood and how much it would take to do. I know you'd have to reapply it, but do physical blood and tell me how is that not less expensive to do physical, like, okay, apply blood, do your shot.
And less time consuming.
Yeah.
Well, because really, yeah, I don't know, because I don't know how long the post production would take for the CG. It just looks so bad, dude. It looks so fucking bad.
The biggest, I think the thing about this movie that I noticed was that they really were trying to make it more like, I mean, I guess you consider the original a horror movie. Like, it's in that classification, even I think it's a weak horror movie. They wanted to make this like really dark, and this
Mhm.
is a horror movie. And it just
Yeah.
didn't work for me, man. The way that they changed Irv, I
Yeah.
didn't like that whole thing. I was like, what is happening? And I don't know, man. It's just I don't want to like do this entire episode and be negative, but this movie's bad. It's just a bad movie.
Like I said earlier, and we'll talk about this more when we go to the actual spoiler section. They literally took every character in this, every character in the movie, except for, I think, Rainbird, and they just made them significantly worse, like just shit individuals.
Mm-hmm.
Just made them all bad.
They changed everybody up. And
Like, how can we make this more movie grittier? Well, let's just give everybody all these fucking problems and make them just fucked up people. Like, great, sounds awesome. Work on that.
All right, well, I think that's enough non-spoilers. Let's jump into the spoilers. All right, so if you haven't seen Firestarter and you have Peacock, you got an hour and a half to kill, and you really want to know, like, do I like this movie? Go watch it. If you want to spend your money, go see it in theaters. I don't recommend it, but do what you want to do. But we're going to spoil this movie right now. So if you haven't seen it and you don't want to be spoiled, get out. And then when you're all caught up, you come back and listen to the rest of this review. All right? All right, cool. I like the opening of this movie. I like the whole interview section where it's like him and Andy and Vicky being interviewed and stuff like that. The only thing that really doesn't make sense is like, what year are we in? Is this modern time? Is this like today? Is this
I don't know.
the 90s? Is like what year are we in? I'm so confused.
It has to be somewhat newer because they talk about Google and she says she doesn't have it.
Yeah, and Wi-Fi and stuff like that.
Because her parents are like fucking hippie yuppies. I'm sorry, no offense to people who are into that, but like, oh, you rats your mind. You don't need Google. I know that the reason they had it, but the reason they tell her daughter is why they can't have it.
Exactly. So yeah, it's just kind of weird the whole premise of this. Like, I think it would have been better if it was kind of set back in the 80s again, so that you can use that MK Ultra kind of scenario again. It just it doesn't really make sense in a modern, doing this modern take.
I will say the beginning of the movie, like where it's like you talked about, where it's over the opening credits or whatever, where it kind of talks about their experience with Lot 6.
Yeah.
Is like a lot of the beginning part of the movie condensed down, and I thought really well.
Yeah.
Because it kind of like it's them talking back and forth, and you see some of the snippets of the experiments and what it's doing to people, and it's that part's creepy. I thought that was kind of creepy what it was doing to some people. Like, oh, okay, because such high hopes in the beginning.
Right.
But
it was like they like caused like a dude's head to explode. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it was pretty intense.
It was crazy. But
I don't see anything.
Yeah, you don't really get the that moment between Vicky and Andy like you do in the original, where they kind of have that conversation before they're actually a couple. It kind of just cuts to they have a baby, and the baby gets put in the crib, and then the baby starts a fire, And yeah.
Then the baby starts on fire.
Oh, that's right, because it's like a night. Yeah, it says a nightmare, and you're like,
Yeah.
okay,
Because Andy has like really vivid like visions, nightmares.
right,
But he talks about having similar stuff like that, both of them, before they have the Lot 6. If you
right,
in the interview, they talk about having some perceptions and stuff before they take it. And I almost think
right.
like the Lot 6 like amplifies that people.
Yeah, because he said he like predicted his was it he predicted his parents' death like years before
Yeah.
or something like
I
that.
think so. I think so, yeah.
You get the scene between Andy and Charlie. She's a little bit older. Her character is a little bit older than Drew Barrymore's version from
Mhm.
the original. You could definitely tell just by,
Mhm.
she's still a child, but she's a little bit more mature in the way she talks and acts and stuff like that.
Yeah. What'd you say,
Um,
like 8, 10, 10-ish
she's
maybe?
probably like 10 or maybe 11, somewhere
Yeah,
around
because they're
there.
doing
Yeah,
they're
because
doing
puberty gets brought up a few times.
Yeah,
So it's
because they
gotta
were like, "Oh,
be
is this
yeah,
puberty?" And no.
and they're doing dissection in class, and you
Oh
don't do
my
that till
god, this
like at least
fucking
fifth.
kid, man. Oh.
You don't do it till at least fifth grade. So
kid's a piece of shit, dude.
This
that's
fucking bully. What? If I'm the teacher, I'm like, shut the fuck up, you little fucker.
Yeah, nobody does anything about it. Like, shut your mouth, dude. Don't say
Yo,
anything to her.
and like they are picking on her like
they're in the
crazy.
gym, we're in the gym later, and he's just such
Yeah.
a dick. And there's
The
like
teacher's
3
right there.
adults there, and they're just like, it's fine. And she runs away.
Yeah.
Yeah, like nobody ever does anything about it. Like, what about you
Yeah.
shitty ass teachers?
And I agree.
Yeah.
Is this the bathroom scene you were talking about? This bathroom
Mhm.
scene?
Yeah, where the teacher follows her in the
Oh,
bathroom.
this was probably the best scene. Just the way
I
it was
agree.
set up, and it was very eerie because she never
Yeah.
talks. It's just kind of
Yeah.
everything's really hot. She touches the door. It's really hot, and then it just blows. And I just thought that was probably the best shot of the movie, and then it just never could get back to that.
They spent all
spot
their budget
again.
on that.
Yeah,
that
really.
scene.
That was about it.
Literally, this is a movie that unfortunately falls into pretty much all the best scenes are in the trailer.
Yeah, you're right.
And there's only a couple of scenes that I would consider the best, and they're all in the fucking trailer.
Mm. Yep.
They had to sell it somehow.
I do like that the mother is incorporated into this movie just a little bit more than the original. It was kind of blink and you miss it with Heather Locklear in the
Yeah.
original, where this one it's like she's more involved. You got the accident too, that like when Charlie like sets her arms on fire. I was like,
Mhm.
okay, how does she come back from that? Like,
Dude,
if I'm the mom, I'm like, I'm fucking out of here, man. Like, my daughter just set
Bye.
me on fire. I don't know if I'm gonna like wake up one day and just be engulfed in flames.
I like that they focused a little bit more on the parents, but I hate the parents in this movie.
There was no chemistry between them
When
all.
that wasn't my problem. My biggest problem was how they treated their daughter
Oh yeah,
when she was there, because she's like, "No, Andy, use your power and make her not do it anymore." And he's like, "I'm not doing that to my fucking daughter, you psycho."
Yeah.
Like, why would you like? I get it, like it's like a betterment thing, but like they just have a fucked up relationship. And again, I can't explain because I don't have a child with superpowers, nor do I have them myself. But like, why would you try to do something to manipulate your daughter? Which
Right.
again is some relevant to the ending. But
Well, let's say it
why
out
would you do
loud.
something? Why would you do something to manipulate your daughter forcibly against her will and think that's okay? And again, the dad's not right either, because
No.
unlike in the original movie, Zac Efron's character Andy doesn't want her to practice and know how to use her abilities. It's the mom that does.
Yeah.
And nobody's cooking toast in this movie. I'm sorry, guys. So that's a huge downer
Nah, she's
for
just sitting
me.
there at the table flicking a lighter.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
So I do and I don't like the fact that the mom's in this more, because I don't like her as a character.
Yeah.
I think she's a piece of shit. And honestly, no offense. I like Zac Efron as an actor, but I fucking hate him as a dad in this movie.
Yeah.
I think they're
agree.
bullshit
I agree with
parents.
all of those takes. You see Andy, what he does earlier. He like has a job where he literally just uses his powers to have people do things. This woman comes in, she wants to quit smoking, and he's got to talk her into it because she doesn't believe in it. And he uses his powers, which he actually has to stare at them. He has to look them in the eyes for his power to actually work.
Line of
and
sight
then
thing.
he starts bleeding from the fucking eyes instead of his nose, which is like, okay. And it just doesn't look good.
It does. Why did they need to change that?
I don't know.
Wouldn't it have been so much easier to
because
leave
it's
it as the nose?
scarier when people bleed from the eyes.
Yeah.
Sure.
No, that's seriously probably why
sure.
they did it. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I think it would have been like you might as well just made them like puke up blood. Like, just, have a great
His
day.
eye pops out.
Yeah, I just gotta put it back.
Gotta get that one back in.
Oh man.
I like how he's trying to make her leave. He's like, she's like, I don't have enough cash. He's like, it's fine. I know you're good for it. And then I'm like, is he gonna throw up? Because he's like holding his stomach, and then all of a sudden,
yeah, you can tell it's
it's
a very rough experience on him. Even more so than I think the original movie. It's very rough.
I just don't think he acts it out very well. It's kind of it's just not good. We meet Hollister in this one, who's played by a woman now. This was Charlie Sheen's character from the original, and she's the villain of this movie. It's not Rainbird, which was the original villain. It's Hollister, and she's terrible. She's just a terrible villain. She doesn't do anything other than
be a piece of shit.
Yep. And then she gets fucking torched in the most anticlimactic way possible.
Yep.
Rainbird goes from he's like an assassin of some sort, or like he's like an enforcer for this organization. You get the intro scene where he's like in his apartment, and
you get a shot of him being a janitor first, which is a reference.
Oh yeah,
the original.
You do. And then you see him in his apartment. He gets a call from Hollister about he needs him, or she needs him to do this job. And what does he do? Is he goes to the Andy and the McGee house, and he ends up killing the wife.
Yeah. Well, he mentions that you can see he's kind of into like the supernatural, which is kind of a reference to the original, because the other the original guy's kind of into that superstitious kind of shit, and he has like the Rainbird's got like the tattoo of like tarot. He's got tarot cards and shit all over. Like he's into like, but it's not something he talks about a lot. But it's kind of like some subtext to his character.
So his tattoos.
His tattoo's very cool.
I thought his character, like the way he looked and everything, was good. I just don't like the way that the path that they put him on in this movie. It doesn't make any fucking sense. So he does what he does. He kills he's going after Charlie. That's like the prime objective, is getting Charlie. He ends up killing or getting there to the house, and he's asking the mom about where is she, blah, 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 and she won't give it up. And you find out she has telekinesis. She's literally just This is actually a pretty decent scene of her like throwing all the shit in the house at him and like tossing him across the house. I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, and all the pictures and shit, which then Andy comes in later, and it's not that bad. All the pictures are still kind of hanging there. Like, did she magically, like, what the fuck? There's no continuity in this movie at all.
We should also point out the fact that Rainbird also was in a Lot 6 experiment.
Yes, which wasn't in the book, and it wasn't in the original. The original Rainbird, so listen, as much as the casting is awful in the original, that's the real Rainbird from the book. That's the way the book portrays him. He's a beast of a man. Who works for this organization. He wants he wants Charlie mostly, and all the and like he pretends to be the janitor to get closer to Charlie. He gets close to her, and then everything happens. So what you see in the original, that's the Rainbird from the book. This they changed it, so I can guarantee they changed it because they didn't want the creep factor, because he's a fucking creep ass in the original.
Dude. Pedo much.
And they wanted to have him have some weird redemption arc at the end because he was part of the Lot 6 experiment, which does make sense. He literally, spoiler for the end of the movie already, but he literally carries Charlie off into the fucking wherever.
Sunset.
He killed your mom. What do you mean?
If you was obviously he has some kind of psychic ability too, because he can hear her thoughts in that beginning with the mom and him.
Yeah.
But even when the fucking whatever her name is captain, whatever,
Hollister.
he doesn't want to do it.
Yeah.
He's like, I want to reactivate. He's like, he doesn't want to do it. He wants nothing to do with it. He's played up in the movie. I'm not trying to defend the movie, but this is just how I perceive it. He's played up in the movie as a victim as well. He's being used to do stuff he doesn't want to do, but that's
Right.
just that's his job. It's what he's supposed to do. He doesn't have to like it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. He's one of the characters I actually probably liked in this movie because he's like, even though he's shit and he was doing what he's supposed to, it doesn't make it right in any way. He's still probably one of the better characters in the film.
I can agree to that. I think he did a good job for what he was given. It just, I don't know. I didn't like the whole, evolution of this character throughout the movie and the way that it was. They could have made it look like he didn't want to do it the whole time he's doing the job. Like, listen, like maybe, or have it a completely different route where instead of him going in there and doing what he does, he's just like, he ends up helping them.
Yeah. Well, he even said, I'm pretty sure he even tells the lady, he's like, I don't want to kill you. I said, I think he says something along that before he murks her because she fights back.
Yeah.
And he says that, I just need the daughter or whatever. Where are they at? When are they coming home? I think he says something along those lines that he doesn't actually want to kill him. He just wants the girl. That's what he's there for.
Oh, man.
Anyway, carry on. It's not good, but carry on.
So, yeah, he has Charlie like held up hostage and he has something blocking because Andy has to look at him in order to use his push power. And so he actually uses his push on Charlie to, she can get away from him and stuff like that. And they end up finding. It's funny that they find the wife kind of in the same like.
I don't think he uses his push on Charlie because he's got her eyes covered as well.
Oh, I don't remember how she escapes then.
Because she uses her firepower. She doesn't have to look at him to do it. She just does it. He doesn't realize that she doesn't need line of sight to use her fire ability. She could just.
Didn't she need her line of sight in the original? Need to like look at where she? I don't know, man.
Well, I mean, if you could just generate fire around you, you could just like she did in the bathroom, explode out.
Well, I mean, like in the original, she couldn't just like they were in that room behind her, she couldn't, or in front of her, she couldn't just make fire in that room. Like she had to be in the room and looking at what.
Right.
Yeah. So she had to have line of sight in the original.
Okay. Or it was never really brought up in the original. It was just.
I just assumed since she knew that they were somewhere else, but she couldn't just like make fire in it.
Well, she also at that point wasn't trying to murk them all. She was just trying to get to her dad. So.
True.
Right.
Anyway.
So then we have Hollister going and seeing Dr. Wainless, who's the one who was behind Lot 6, and he's actually in a hospital, like for crazy people. And it's named after that other doctor from the original, Pincott. And they make a fucking reference about how she's a woman. Because they had to make a reference about how, I thought I figured you were a guy type deal. And then she has to take off her thing and like, nope, all woman here. And you're like,
is this
was this a nod to the original or like to
need to see
what?
The chick got the boobies.
Yeah. That's how I tell. this is so. You get the conversation where he's just like, you got to kill her or she's going to become too powerful, which you have that same conversation in the original, but he's not in a hospital, and you kind of don't even know why he's there.
Nope.
He's just at this mental hospital or whatever type of hospital it is. Yeah. And that's when she enlists Rainbird. This all happens before and all that shit happens. And so Andy and Charlie go on the run. They run into Irv. And he is, Man, the original guy was so much better in my opinion. I just like the way that character was in the original. You had the wife who in this one is someone who's locked in a dark ass room with something wrong with her.
Yeah.
I didn't like that whole thing. Charlie stumbles upon. I'm like, why did this doesn't need to be here? This is because it goes nowhere. It really doesn't go anywhere. It's just like, oh no, I found your wife. And then Irv watches on the news about the everything that happened at the McGee house and that Andy is being framed for the murder of his wife.
And kidnapping of his daughter.
And Andy, of course, you get the same kind of, it's more of a confrontation in this one where Irv and Andy argue about everything that's going on. He just tells him, hey, I did it to protect my daughter. Charlie then, she uses so she also has telekinetic powers because of her mother. And she pretty much tells, she manipulates him about his wife. Like, oh, your wife forgives you. It's all pointless.
Yeah, it doesn't amount to anything. There's like, let's bolster this character. Let's not.
Right. Yeah. So supposedly the wife is paralyzed because of Irv, because they got in a car accident or something. She got paralyzed.
He was mad at her, wasn't paying attention. They got a car accident. She was paralyzed and it killed their son.
Yeah.
And he's just kind of like had rage issues and drinking problem because of
it's just unnecessary. It's just padding that we didn't need.
For characters that ultimately don't matter in this movie.
It's just wild that a film from 1984 that was 2 hours, almost 2 hours long, did so much better with their character design. Like, well, not character design, but like the path these characters take. Because like Irv and his wife, can't remember her name, but they don't do a lot, but they do just enough. Right? Like they're there, they have the conversation about who they really are. Charlie and Andy confess who they really are and why they're doing these things and stuff. And, the people show up and the whole chaos happens.
Yeah, the wife wants him to leave in the original one.
Yeah.
She's like, just get him out of here.
Yeah. And this is, again, creating something to make it more scary. So, like, the scene of Charlie running or, encountering the wife in the darkness, she comes out and she's got the tubes in her eyes, like, and you're like, what the fuck, man? Like, it just wasn't necessary. It was dumb, to be honest. This movie's dumb.
I want to know something else about this movie. Almost at no point in this entire film, outside of some language, should this movie have been rated R.
Wait, this movie was rated R?
Yeah.
For what?
That's what I'm saying. Maybe there was a few scenes of like some violence that may have been toned down a little bit in a PG-13 movie. I don't see it.
It's rated R for violent content.
Yeah, I don't see it.
I'm so confused. Also, when you're a secret organization, why the fuck do you have your...
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, where she's breastfeeding the baby at the very beginning.
Sex and nudity?
Again, listen, as a guy who just had whose wife just had a baby, and like it's a natural thing, but like it's not necessary for this fucking movie. If that shot, no, it's not. I agree with you. It's not. But that quick shot of her breastfeeding Charlie is going to give you an R rating? What?
Yeah, there's a few scenes of like violence which could have been toned down or whatever, and nobody would have.
It could have been toned down or just non-existed because it was bad. Yeah, it's just a lot of dumb shit that did not need to be in this movie. It was just them trying to change it up and make it more scary, and ultimately it just didn't need to be. And also, when you're a secret organization, why the fuck are you putting your logo on the side of a building? So that people, oh, I'm using my powers and I can see the building with the logo of the secret organization. Stupid. Somebody didn't do their job.
No.
Just something small.
Rainbird murks a lot of fucking people in this movie.
Yeah.
Outside of the Irv's house.
Yep. Actually, I might have fell asleep for that.
No, like instead of, you remember, of course, in the original movie, since we're at this scene in the original movie, she's like, "Oh, the cars are coming," whatever,
Yeah.
and then Andy pretty much turns his daughter loose on her or whatever.
Yep.
And this, it's like the police show up and Irv's trying to like, "Hey, I was drunk, I'm a piece of shit, guys. You know what's going on?" Tried to cover for him after they have that talk on the inside. Didn't mean to call the cops, whatever.
Yeah.
And then just Rainbird just over there with like a fucking Mini 14 or an M1A SOCOM, just pop, 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 like dropping these cops, just doing what he do.
Shoots everybody.
Just fucks them, dude. And then Herb tries to run. Herb gets shot in the leg, which he gets shot in the arm in the original one.
Yeah.
He doesn't die, of course. He just gets shot in the leg. Yeah. So that was the difference. She didn't light any cops on fire.
Nope.
So
not as good.
or agents.
She didn't get a chance.
No, yeah, none of that stuff happened.
But she does manipulate Rainbird. Right. She manipulates him to do stuff, and then this is when Andy gets taken.
No,
right?
she doesn't.
And
do
Charlie
anything.
runs away.
Yeah. Yeah. Charlie runs away, and he manipulates Rainbird into thinking that she went somewhere else.
Right.
Like put a thought in his mind that
Andy's
she
the one
ran
who
somewhere.
fucks with him.
Yeah. But it doesn't work very well on him because Andy kind of fucks himself up, and because Rainbird being part of Lot 6 himself seems to be more resistant to that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
And then, the goon squad from DSI or whatever shows up.
Yep.
And captures everybody, Rainbird included.
So Charlie runs into the woods. And great place to practice your firepower, right? In a wooded area. Fucking smoking a bear coming out of the woods like, "Hey, what the fuck?"
Well, she wouldn't know. She didn't have no fucking TV to watch Smokey the Bear.
That's true.
Yeah. So you could blame her shitty ass parents for that.
Yeah. But she practices her firepower, honing her firepower in a wooded area. It's not very smart, but she does a good job, so bravo to that.
Yeah, she starts to get the hang of it.
Yeah, she gets a message from her father. He's in a message. Yeah, about where she needs to go. She runs into a couple kids because when I'm walking down the street, right, and kids ride by with their bikes, they're just gonna stop and they're just gonna circle around me.
Yeah, and fuck with me, all right?
Fuck with me.
Kids have nothing better to do but be pieces of shit.
Yeah. So the first kid, she makes him give up the bike, right? And then the second kid is the sandwich.
Yeah, the bike's the last one, I think.
Oh,
isn't
okay.
it? Because I know she gets like 3 things. I know she gets the sandwich and something else.
She gets the bike, she gets the sandwich, and I think the third kid, she just makes him take his pants off.
I think you're right. Yeah, I think you're right.
Underwear or something like that.
And then she's like, "Hey, which way's the coast?"
Oh no, she steals the clothes. She takes clothes from one of the kids.
That's what it is.
Yeah. She gets to the place and then she runs into she sneaks by a bunch of people and jumps into the back seat of this agent who is clearly on the phone with his pregnant fucking wife.
Yep. Just trying to make us feel bad.
Oh my God. Stop it. This didn't need to be a thing. All right. We didn't need that little bit of shit so that we'd be like, "Oh, this poor guy, he works for a shitty organization." I mean, not that they deserve to die, but you suck. Don't make me like, "Oh, fuck." So dumb. Well, she freaking torches him.
That's probably the
gnarly.
best. Yeah, it's probably the best kill of this whole movie.
And
it's like melts like half his face and shit, but doesn't put him out of his misery. They're like, "Remember the cat, Daddy?" And let's put him out of his misery.
Oh my fucking God.
We
didn't even talk about the fucking cat.
The cat should have been dead.
Okay.
Flat.
Okay. The cat scene in this movie where she gets scratched by the cat and then she just instinctually reacts and doesn't kill the cat, but severely wounds it, mortally wounds it, whatever. And then the dad tells him she needs to put it out of its misery, be responsible. That is the scene in this movie that I like Zac Efron as being a dad. He kind of breaks it down like, okay, this is how your powers work. You can't be reactive. They have to be controlled. And you got to remember, when you hurt people like that, you're not just hurting that person, you're hurting people that they love and everything like that. It's not, which is, it kind of opens her mind up to, to what's going on a little bit. That's like the only scene of like, okay, he's explaining it as a dad probably should to his daughter if given the ridiculous situation.
Yeah, because she gets that lesson for when she does this to the guy, and she's like, "Oh, I gotta put him out of his misery, he's suffering," and then she
Yeah.
like just puts him up, lights him up again to kill him.
Yeah.
Rainbird's in a cell too, by the way.
Yeah, because
We
I
later
think
find
it's
out.
because he got brought in with the rest of them. They cover his eyes so he can't do nothing either. Because
Right.
they don't give a fuck about him. He's
Yeah.
expendable, just like I talked about. He's an
Right.
expendable resource, and they don't fucking care. They just used him to get what they
Well,
wanted.
if they had written him the way that he was written in the book, or even from the original, yeah, he was a fucking creep ass, but like that was his character.
Yeah.
That was the
Yeah.
way he was written. He would have been a more compelling villain than Hollister, because Hollister sucks. There's nothing compelling about this villain at all. So like Charlie
Yeah,
goes through the entire facility and just starts murking people, and then she gets to her father's cell, or like it's like the fucking Hannibal Lecter cell.
clear glass.
Yeah, and he's strapped to a chair, and then she comes in and she's just like, "You torch me, you torch him," and then he's like, "Do it, Charlie," and then he uses his push to cause her to light them both up. And I was like, that was it. That was the villain. That was the fucking villain. All right.
So many problems with this scene I don't like. Because it explains that he didn't call his daughter there. It was Rainbird.
Right.
Because Rainbird was imitating her dad's voice mentally to call her there. Because he was trying to do this redemption arc because he's like, I fucked up. I killed her family. I want this girl. She has every right to kill us. Because she says that. Her mom tells Rainbird earlier, you don't know what you're bringing upon yourself. And when he gets captured, it's like, you don't know what you're bringing upon yourself. And when she comes and takes us, you're going to regret it. And he's accepting of this. He wants her to kill him. That's all he wants. Not in that sick, like boner god fetish. Maybe the stuff will go into me like in the original. I think he's trying to atone what he did in a really flimsy way, but he's trying to atone what he did. But my biggest problem is the dad, I don't know what they've done to him. They probably tortured the piss out of him. He's just flat given up.
Yeah.
He's even said, like, I would never want you to come here. Why would I call you here? And then he uses his power on her to make her do something she does not want to fucking do. Again, what I just fucking talked about earlier in the movie, and I fucking hated this part of the movie. Like, come on, dude. See, all this girl is in this movie is a fucking puppet, dude.
Yeah.
For people. And that's the shit part of it. All the people are shit in this movie.
She's a child, so they think they can
just abuse her. That's all she's there for.
Manipulate her.
Yep. Yeah, and she did go out unceremoniously, very much so.
She wasn't even a villain. She was terrible. She was absolutely terrible. And then the final, like, going through the prison and, you know, her murking everybody, and it was just it wasn't good. It didn't make me feel the same way as the original, the way that final of her walking out of the barn and her just, I mean, it was cheesy, but it was fucking good for the time. And it was a great way to end that movie. And after she goes through and murks everybody, she goes outside of the beach and Rainbird's behind her. She turns around. He like drops to his knees because he's accepting his fate. He thinks like she's going to kill him because of him killing her mother. And she ends up, she lets him pick her up and then they walk off.
That you're actually a little different. So what happened is during the siege, Rainbird gets out. She confronts the guys in the fireproof suits in the building, and she can't kill them, which right there, she's already way fucking weaker than she was in the original, because she could blow up fucking pure cinder block. Like, those people stand no fucking chance. But, like, she's not, I mean, it's cool she can do pyrokinesis, but she's extremely weak compared to the original one.
The original one, she lit the guys on fire.
Yeah. And Rainbird comes in, because they start taking their shit off. Rainbird comes in, murks all of them, and then he drops his knee and just accepts his fate.
Right, it was in the building, and then later, he just ends up being there. Yeah.
Then she walks him, leaves him. She's like, fuck it, I'm not going to be like you. I'm going to leave.
Right.
Yeah. And then the beach scene.
And then, they go to the beach. She goes to the beach. He's there with her, and then he picks her up, and they walk off, and the movie's over. And I went, what?
I was like, I guess, like, they're trying to, like, okay, they're both fucked up, they both done wrong things, whatever. I don't know what message they're going for, but it's such a weird way to end the movie. It's so weird.
It just was bad. It was just this was bad writing. 100%. Bad.
I like the original one I like the original one where she went back to go live with Irv and his wife.
Yes, it's such a
That
better
made
ending.
sense.
And then she goes to the New York Times to tell the story.
Yeah, it
You're not
gives
getting
you a
that.
conclusion.
This is such a I guess some sort of a cliffhanger. I hope they don't make a sequel to this one because it was not good.
No.
Listen, I don't want to be we've talked about bad movies on this show before, and we've talked about bad movies that are enjoyable to watch. This is not enjoyable to watch. This is a boring movie with bad dialogue, bad writing, and unnecessary changes. When you have a movie when you're remaking a movie that is from 1984, where you're trying to appease the people who have read the book and have seen the original, but also try to bring in a new audience, like a younger audience who might not have ever seen the original movie or read the book. Just you can remake it like the original. Make it like the original. There was a lot of good elements there. It was for the time, it was, a little cheesy looking, and some of the casting was terrible. I mean, I don't care that they made Hollister a woman. I don't care that they made Irv black. I don't care.
No.
I really appreciate that they made Rainbird, appropriate for the character itself. I don't care. I don't care about those first two things, and I love the fact of what they did with Rainbird. But just keep the original story.
Yep.
But it's one of those things where it's we don't want to offend anybody. We don't want to do this. We don't want to do that. We got to make it, we want to appease the 2022 crowd. And it's then you shouldn't have made the movie, because that's not what was written. That wasn't what was written by a coked out Stephen King in 1970 whenever this book was made.
So you're talking about movies that have not done well, or just not good movies that we've covered on here. And of course, if anybody's watched these, and if you have, you should go back and listen to them. Ones that I particularly have shit on, or partially shit on, like Halloween Kills. Not a great movie by any stretch, but it's not a bad movie. It's an okay movie. I think Halloween Kills is way better than this movie. Even Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which I fucking shit all over that movie, but it's a decent horror film. Strip away the whole Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
As bad as that movie is,
way better than this movie. Way better than this movie. So that's what I'm saying.
That's saying a lot, because that movie is bad.
This is pretty low. I was very much God, when the fuck's this good? It's an hour and a half. I was like, this will go by quick. It's much faster than the original. No.
Ghostbusters 2016.
See, I would.
It's fucking awful.
I mean, it is awful, but I would rather watch it over any of those other two films we just mentioned.
Oofda.
Yeah, this is a bad movie, and yeah, I mean this is our opinion. So if you don't agree with it, that's fine. That's how this all works, and I'll state it again.
I'm gonna give you. Well, no, I'll wait to the end. I'm gonna give some dad advice at the very end of this.
So that is it for this. We're done talking about Firestarter. This is literally, I think the only way I remember anything from this movie is if I listen to this podcast a year from now, or it refreshes my memory. Other than that, it's a very forgettable movie. And I want to see this girl in other movies. I feel like, you got to give young actors and actresses second chances when things don't work out the first time, because I know she's new. Give her more work.
The guy that plays Rainbird
is Michael Grey Eyes.
Yeah, Michael Grey Eyes. He played in that Shudder movie, Blood Quantum, which I think is a zombie movie. It's a zombie movie, but it's all about Native Americans. And I think they covered it on Kill Count.
On the Kill Count,
Dead Meat, yeah. And it looks really pretty cool. I just went on and realized
I need to watch that, actually. It looks really good.
I do need to see that as well.
But yeah,
so give that guy more work.
Yes.
I think he could be good.
Zac Efron, we don't have to worry about. He's getting more work.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, that is it for Firestarter. Do we have any final thoughts before we move on to our little rigmarole at the end here?
No.
All right. I do. I got final thoughts.
All right.
This is dad advice. All right. Proper dad advice from a dad 3 times over. 3 times.
He's 3 times.
3 times. He'll understand. We're on a mutual playing field here. Don't partake in government experiments just donate plasma or jerk off in a cup for money like the rest of us. All right. And secondly, go watch some Jurassic Park 3. Our review
Yes.
of Jurassic Park
Yes.
3.
Oh man.
I was like, am I
Love
gonna
it.
regret
Love
this?
it.
I love it. I'm just glad I can come with a lot
All right.
of stuff at the end of the episode. I'm like, yes, good way to close.
Well, I mean, you have plenty of time to think about it.
Oh, I do. It
All
just
right.
popped up. I
Well,
was like, yes.
well, coming up this week, we got
But we already talked about it in a cup.
content that will be out this week from us after this. We have episode 55 of the podcast where we talked about Top Gun, the original Top Gun. And we are also going to be doing a live stream on Friday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time on the Dissect That Film Twitch page. So make sure to follow us over there so you can watch us live as we go over everything we've covered in the month of May and everything we're going to be covering going forward. So very excited about that. So make sure to go to twitch.tv/Dissect That Film, drop that follow, hit the bell so that you know when we go live. Other than that, we got some, we'll talk about other content during the live stream, so I won't go into too long of a spiel here at the end, but make sure to follow us all on social media. All the links will be down in the description. And yeah, until next time, I am Brett Parker. That is Dan and Angel of DNA Gaming. We are Dissect That Film, and this has been Dissect That Film's Fresh Cuts. Have a wonderful rest of the week.
Bye.